The whole village of Okotori has never seen wealth like that of Chief Akpo. He was not just rich, he was wealthy beyond imagination. His mansion stood like a palace. His cars lined the compound like soldiers on parade. Everyone in the community knew him as a man of power and influence. He had 1 daughter and 5 strong sons, and he trained them all in the best schools. But one sad morning, news spread like wildfire that Chief Akpo was dead. The entire community was thrown into mourning. Men, women, and children wept bitterly. Chief Akpo's burial was fixed quickly, and preparation began in earnest. His kinsmen gathered daily in his compound, planning the burial. Big politicians, businessmen, and traditional rulers promised to come. Cow after cow was slaughtered, drinks flowed like river, and musicians were booked to play. The whole community looked forward to that day because it was certain to be the burial of the century. It was not just the death of a man, it was the death of a pillar. Yet, even with all the celebration, a strange fear lingered in the air. On the morning of the burial, a large crowd filled Chief Akpo's compound. Rich men came with convoys of cars. The poor came in their numbers, too. The town hall was empty because everyone was at the burial ground. When the car carrying Chief Akpo's body finally arrived, people rushed to see it. The casket was long, shining, and very beautiful. But there was something unusual. Boldly written on it in red ink were the words, "Do not open." Murmurs filled the crowd immediately. People began whispering to themselves in shock. The whispers grew louder when one of Chief Akpo's close relatives came forward carrying an envelope. He announced that the letter was left behind by Chief Akpo himself before he died. He opened it carefully and began to read. The letter said clearly that nobody should open the casket under any circumstance. It said the casket must be lowered into the grave just as it was. The letter went on to warn of dangerous consequences if anyone dared to open it. The moment he finished reading, silence covered the crowd. Chief Akpo's first son, Diku, frowned immediately after hearing the letter. He was a proud and fearless young man, known for speaking his mind without fear. He stood up and faced the crowd. "My people," he said loudly, "this thing is not clear. How can my father be buried and nobody will see his body? Is that possible? A man of the people like my father must be seen. The community must see him one last time." His voice was strong, and the crowd nodded in agreement. Some murmured that he was right. The eldest daughter, Amoka, quickly rushed forward. She knelt before Diku and pleaded, "Brother, please let us respect father's wishes. He left the instruction himself. Please don't cause trouble. If father said the casket should not be opened, then it must not be opened." But Diku's face was set like stone. He shook his head angrily. "Amoka, stand up. I cannot accept this nonsense. Father was my hero. I must see him with my own eyes before he is lowered into the ground." His words shook the crowd deeply. Diku's younger brothers tried to calm him down. "Brother, please, don't do this," the second son, Chidi, begged. "Father said dangerous things will happen. Do you want to put us in trouble?" But Diku waved his hand. "Enough of this fear," he shouted. "What danger? Is father a ghost? Is he a spirit? We are talking about a man who was loved and respected. Everybody deserves to see him before burial. I will open the casket, and nothing will happen." His stubbornness made the crowd restless, but they watched silently. The chiefs and elders in attendance also tried to persuade him. One of them, an old man named Ichimadu, stood up and said, "My son, your father was a great man. If he left a warning, there is a reason. Don't bring calamity to yourself and your family. Let us bury him in peace." But Diku was boiling with anger. He turned and shouted at the old man, "Ichi, with all due respect, stay out of this. I am his first son. I have the final say here. The casket must be opened." Without waiting for anybody's permission, Diku rushed to the casket. The crowd gasped in shock. His siblings ran after him, but he pushed them aside with force. He bent down and grabbed the shiny lid of the casket. His hands trembled, but his eyes were full of fire. "Let the people see my father," he shouted at the top of his voice. With one swift move, he forced the casket open. At that moment, a strange wind blew across the compound. Women screamed. Men covered their eyes. Silence fell everywhere. Diku looked inside the casket, and immediately his eyes widened in horror. His mouth opened, but no words came out. He staggered backward like someone who had been struck by lightning. Within seconds, he collapsed on the ground. His body shook violently, and then it became still. Dyke was dead. The entire crowd screamed in terror. Amoka knelt down and wailed. "My brother is gone," she cried. The villagers scattered in fear. Some shouted, "Abomination! Abomination!" The casket closed back. The burial had turned into tragedy. To be continued.